जयपुर वाया कोटा
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ಲಕ್ನೋ ಜಂಕ್ಷನ್
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವವರೆಗೆ
Hyderabad Bhattacharjya Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो
Only about 10 days left in the IPL. It's still a three-horse race with the two spots left in the playoffs. Those three teams are in action today. Two of these teams that will be in action today, one of them has already made it through to the playoffs twice in Sanju Samson's captaincy. They've made it through, but they're eyeing a top two spot. Punjab, meanwhile, everyone's favourite team. Everyone loves to talk about Punjab. Will be in action in Guwahati. I've got a really funny look from Lisa Sthalekar when I said that. Lisa, not everyone's favourite team?
Oh, well, it's interesting how you said that. It's not what you said in the green room, hey?
What did I say?
Oh, no. Nothing. Secrets in the green room stay there, right? Four walls.
Punjab, we love it. We love them, don't we?
We love them. We love that they always seem to be last on the table. And yet, you know, they have the biggest changes to their squad and things just don't seem to change for them.
Where do they find themselves, right? At the bottom at number 10. They've got two more games to go. One against RR, the other against the Sunrisers Hyderabad. They've won just 4. Joy, this is the 10th year they haven't qualified. There has to be something beyond what the players are doing.
Yeah, I think you've got to look at them seriously and ask that, you know, what are they doing as a franchise? Because, yeah, clearly even the law of averages catches up after a while. And when you release a lot of players, you also are in a position to buy a lot of good players.
Yeah.
So they have it. They've given a run, at least a 2-year run to Trevor Bayliss, who's won 2 championships at Kolkata. He's won a World Cup with England. So you've got all the pieces. You've got a really good backroom staff, you know. Sanjay Bangar's there. Adrian is there. You know, all the right people are there. Just what now needs to be changed? I have nowhere else to go.
You can have the best ingredients, and if you don't have the right chef, you won't get a great meal. Is that been Punjab's story?
Yeah, so who's the chef?
I don't know. Oh, well.
I mean, that's the question, right?
Yeah.
As Joy has kind of articulated, you've got people that come with a track record.
Yeah.
So who is the chef that's not allowing those ingredients to be able to form the way that they should? So, yeah, it's a hard one for us to answer because we're not in that franchise. We don't know the dealings, how it works, how they go about it. But some serious questions need to be asked.
Can they spoil somebody's party? Can they spoil SRH's party?
They can. You see, because they're going to play absolutely cricket, you know, without any pressures, any compulsions. They're out there. They can just go and blast and play. But that normally does not result in victories more as often as you would think. Because, you know, when you are in that phase of mind, you also give up very fast.
Yeah.
So you may go blast, you know, you may score a few runs. But the moment pressure comes on you, you're not in a position to take it. Because you really are not in that mood that I've got to work through everything and win somehow or the other.
Yeah.
So more often than not, teams at this stage tend to sort of give early resistance and then collapse.
Yep.
And Rajasthan will be hoping it's one of those days for them.
Yes, RR won 8 of their first 9 games and then they lost 3 on the bounce. We in India were scarred by what happened on the 19th of November. We believe you need to lose a bit before you play the big game. Is that how you would look at it as well?
Yeah, it's important to lose a game, not 3 in a row.
Yeah.
It's the wrong time to start racking up the losses because you want to get everyone humming in the right direction when you come into final. So they can quickly turn it around. They're going to a home venue, albeit it's a new venue for them, but they've got to take full advantage of that.
Right, RR, they've got to win their last 2 games to confirm a top 2 spot. If they win just one, they've got to hope that SRH lose one of their 2 games. So lots at stake for RR as well under Sanju Samson's captaincy. Now, RR have won the toss and they've chosen to bat first on a pitch they say is full of a lot of runs. You'd want to bat first and put the runs on the board and test your bowlers then.
Yeah, see, that must tell you that they know a little bit about this pitch. Because the point is, normally, if you go to a new pitch, place, you don't really know what the pitch is going to behave like. So, obviously, clearly, they've sorted it out. They know what this pitch is all about. If you do know what the pitch is all about, with a team like Punjab, whose strong side, if they're going to hit you, it's going to hit you with their batting.
Yeah.
you really want to go hard, put up so many runs that, they can't hurt you. And that's the only way to go about it right now. So that means two things. They know the conditions. They're pretty sure of it. Otherwise, they wouldn't take a chance to bat first.
There will be a change at the top for the Rajasthan Royals. No, Joss Butler is gone back home for England duties for the T20 World Cup. And that means they will have a new pairing up top with Jaiswal. How big a miss is Butler for this team?
Massive. He seems to be, apart from the skipper, a bit of the heart and soul of Rajasthan, and he plays for the franchise in a number of other tournaments. So he kind of bleeds pink.
Yeah.
He will be a huge loss for them, because whilst he scored a decent amount of runs, he actually hasn't had his type of season. There's 200s in there, and then the rest has probably been a little bit below Butler's standards. But he has a way to calm, relax and bring everyone in and get them onto the same page when it comes to playing some good cricket.
Is it the same as KKR not having Philip Salt? Is it going to be huge psychologically?
I think Butler is a bigger miss than Salt, because he lends, your partner also with Jaiswal also, he lends a bit of presence to the team, Yeah. And the other thing, let me tell you, is that when you look at T20 cricket, you've got to look at averages very differently.
Yeah.
If somebody scored 359 runs for you, okay, somebody could have scored 500 runs for you, and not won your match, not really changed the match for you. You can score 320 runs also, and you could have changed 2 matches with the bat.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Butler did. At least in Kolkata, he stole the match.
Yeah.
I mean, that match was literally taken away by him. So even in a bad season, Butler will land up 1 or 2 days and steal the match from the other team.
Yeah.
That's one. The second is, again, he's not been in the best of batting form.
Yeah.
He's still got himself 359 runs. So that's the thing you've got to look at. He's not looked super fluent.
Yeah.
In fact, it's very interesting to contrast those two, because Jaiswal, while he's batted, has looked super fluent. He's looking like everything is in the middle of the bat, and then he gets out. Butler sort of scratched around in this thing and got 2 centuries.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, because it tells you how much experience tells, and why the top players are so consistent, because they can play their way through times when they're not feeling at their best.
How do they fill that hole is a question that all our fans must be asking. They've brought TCC in, Tom Kohler Cadmore is in. Does he open? Because in the LPL, the BPL, the PSL and in the Abu Dhabi T10, he's not open.
No, his preferred option is in the middle.
Yeah.
But my thought process, and it may be the same from the coaching staff, is you don't want to upset the apple cart. You don't want to have too many people shuffle around. So by almost putting him at the top, you keep everyone in their usual positions. And I think that's really important. But I guess, again, we're not there to kind of judge and see how Tom could actually be able to cope opening, because it's something that he doesn't often do.
Yeah. Would you look at Samson to open? He's opened for RR 9 times in the past.
I would, but I totally agree with her. The same reasons, absolutely. You want to do minimal up and down with the team, because you've got something very solid. You've got Riyan Parag batting at 4, solid. Samson at 3, very solid. You've had that opening pair there. Then you get the Jurels in. Shubham Dubey has not worked for them, but they've been trying Shubham Dubey for a while to see whether he's worked out.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that, therefore, if he's a competent enough. He's 29 years old.
Yeah.
He's played around the world. He adjusts to conditions. In T10 cricket, you don't score the runs he does by batting very low in the order either, You bat up the order. So my point is that he's a professional enough. He's 29 years old. You just say, come on, take the bat.
He might actually like it. It might unearth his new position, potentially. I don't know.
Yeah. Is it really different? Because they say flexibility is the buzzword in T20 cricket these days. Someone who bats at 4 or 5, why can't he or she open?
They can. Well, I mean, there's a slight difference. When you open, you don't have to ever wait, right? You know when you're batting.
Yeah.
When you come down the order, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So it depends what people like. I get that this next generation, who probably will play a lot more T20 cricket, will be a hell of a lot more flexible. But someone of a certain age has actually played probably a number of other formats. So they kind of get stuck in their habits of, oh, no, this is what I do. I sit and watch and then I go out.
Yeah.
So it might be that.
I suppose it would be easier to open with the power play restrictions in, would it?
It's not
That's
easier.
where everyone wants to bat.
Yeah, everyone wants to bat 1 to 3.
Yeah.
T20 cricket, everyone wants to bat 1 to 3. Because on an average, a number 7 batsman gets about 6 to 7 balls a match, a tournament.
Yeah.
On an average.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. That that's this kind of situation you have. Everyone, all the opportunities are up front.
Yeah.
And you can change a game up front. And see, what happens is that in test match cricket, it's a very different thing. The ball swings around in the beginning, you bat differently. But even in test match cricket, where opening is fairly different from middle order, where did Sehwag start his career? He started his career as a middle order guy. He didn't get the opportunity. Saurav told him the only way you can walk into this Indian side is if you open, because there's Sachin, Dravid, myself, all of us are there, Lakshman, 4 in the middle order.
Yeah.
Where are you going to bat?
Yeah.
So he opened. And that changed his fortunes because, So I think if somebody like a TKC gets a chance to open for these guys, he's just going to take it and say, even if I don't open for them next year, there's a big auction coming up. I show my...
Yeah.
Exactly. I show what I have.
I almost liken it for baseball, right? There's no one on bases, so you can do whatever you want. You can bunt, you can swing to the hills, you can get a home run. But as soon as there's more people on the base, then strategically you've got to think about the game a little bit more. Yeah. So it's harder to come in at 3, 4, 5, 6 because the situation could be completely different. You could be in the third over, or you could be in with 2 overs to go.
You've worked with a lot of youngsters in broadcast and otherwise. Are players in their early 20s less resistant to change? Players in their late 20s perhaps a bit set in their ways and not wanting to change their order? I
think it's more about international players. International players get a bit this thing because they've played top class, top quality cricket. They don't want to really change. And now things have changed also because, even T20 cricket, when we started the IPL in 2008, there's only 3 years before that of T20 cricket. Yeah. So players were more ODI cricketers and test cricketers, and they thought that way. Yeah. I'm an opener, I'm a bat, I'm a middle order bat. Yeah. I think those things have changed a lot more here. And right now, everyone wants to go top 3. Nobody wants to bat down the order. Yeah. And that's one of the problems because you have to put your best batting up the order. So anyone batting at 4 or beyond is being told that, beyond 4 is being told that you won't have that many opportunities.
Now, Rajasthan have won the toss. They're batting first. Let's take a look at their 11. And 11 that's minus without Joss Butler. So in comes TKC. The name is paired with Jaiswal. So we don't know if that's what they're thinking. Roman Powell comes in as well. Just the 3 foreign players. Lisa, what do you make of that? Because Donovan Ferreira might come in as an impact sub is what the captain said at the toss.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's interesting because he can potentially provide a little bit of late hitting. And what we've seen happen in the past is one of the top orders gets kind of shuffled out and then you can add an extra hitter coming in. So I don't mind it. I think Roman Powell, whilst he probably hasn't set the world on fire, he has given them maybe 1 or 2 instances. Yeah. And obviously he's in a better situation than Shimron Hetmeyer. Yeah.
Along expected lines, Joy? Changes?
Along expected lines, and I think they're keeping that flexibility. So if their batting collapses, because really now with this batting order, somebody like an Ashwin is walking in at 7, which you think is a bit... So what they'll do is they'll take their chances up front. Yeah. So if they take their chances up front means that if this batting clicks, the top 4 or 5 click and they don't need that 7 batsmen, they don't need Donovan Ferreira, they go on. Yeah. Which is fantastic for them because then they sub in an extra bowler.
Is Berger in that list, actually?
It must be. Nandri Berger must be on.
Nandri Berger could be on that impact sub list. We'll take a look at that in just a bit. How about we take a look at the Punjab bowling first 11. Now, they brought the 29-year-old from New South Wales, Nathan Ellis, plays his first game. In comes Harpreet Brar as well, the left-arm spinner. First game for Ellis. What are they thinking?
Yeah, we thought that last night, actually. Nathan Ellis actually played really well last year. I thought he did an exceptional job because he bowls stump to stump. He has little cutters. Yeah. He's almost a specialist back-end bowler. Yeah. So I'm glad he's getting his opportunity. And a bit like what you were saying, you're not quite sure what you're going to get with Punjab. One thing is for sure, these guys that are coming in and playing their first game, it's a chance to kind of put their hand up and go, hey, big auction around. Yeah. I'm actually good. I know my team hasn't played me a lot, but I can provide some impact from a bowling or a batting point of view.
Do talent scouts look at these games, inconsequential games, and say, let's check this a certain player's attitude?
All games, you're going to score those runs against Ashwin and Trent Bolt and the Chahal, so those count. The other thing is, if you look at that team, they've gone. They've not cleared the bus. They have gone in with their top team. These are the best options available. Rabada has gone out, Rabada has been replaced, but otherwise this is their gun-first team. Yeah. They're giving it all. They're throwing the kitchen sink at this. They really want to win, which tells you that this is going to be a pretty competitive match.
Tactically, what does Nathan Ellis bring to this lineup?
Just like his death bowling. He has realised that he's not going to ever compete, and from an Australian point of view, up top swinging the ball, because you've got normally when the big boys come back in, you've got Hazelwood, Stark, those type of guys.
Yeah.
So he's kind of mastered his art, and it was more with Hobart Hurricanes in the Big Bash to kind of be able to bowl that death back of the innings, and he's done it really well.
Right. What about the impact subs? Andre Berger is in RR's Impact 5. Let's take a look at the others as well. Both the Impact 5s coming up. First, let's take a look at RR. Berger very much there, but the captain referred to Ferreira at the toss.
Yeah, no. So what they're saying is, I think that's the way they play their game. So if they don't need Donovan Ferreira, if your top 4-5 batsmen get going and they're batting all 20 overs, you don't need him.
Yeah.
Then you just get the extra bowler in, and then you can decide also.
Yeah.
Do I need a fast bowler? Do I need a spinner? Because you have Keshav Maharaj as well.
Yeah.
So Rajasthan has traditionally done this really well.
Yeah.
They've always picked 3 and left themselves open with that, one big international batter and one big international bowler there. And now this time 2 big international bowlers, and say, okay, I'll sit and watch what happens.
Let's see what the pitch does. Yeah.
Right. Punjab, meanwhile, have Ashutosh Sharma as part of the Impact 5. Most likely to come in. There's also Vidwat Kavarappa, much talked about in the domestic circles. But in this lineup, I suppose Ashutosh Sharma, who's been one of their 2 finds, most likely to come in when Punjab chase.
I mean, there's almost no doubt about it. It's Ashutosh, and he's been fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, he and Shashank have been they've been the revelations of the tournament.
Yeah.
And for players who come in like that, normally you get, they've not been one-hit wonders.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing. They've given you 3, 4, 5 matches in which they've given you a certain amount of consistency, finishing in that position. And I think that tells you something.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you do have players who come and play one fantastic game and then they're done.
Right, RR playing at a new home venue. They're playing in Guwahati. They will be batting first. No Butler, and that means all eyes will be on Yashasvi Jaiswal. And for that, man, we need our experts to give us the coolest advice powered by Crompton Air Coolers. Jaldi cooling. Now, he's part of that World Cup squad as well, but he's sort of looked a pale shadow of himself. The big runs aren't coming in. This Jaiswal is much different from the Jaiswal that played against England. He couldn't put a foot wrong. What's going wrong with him, and what should he do to pull himself out of that rut?
Well, it's funny, I think in T20 cricket, he has looked good, but T20 cricket is about a bit of luck as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just find the fielders, sometimes you get a peach of a delivery.
Yeah.
So I think he's actually hitting and timing the ball. I was talking in the green room about the fact that when you ask any boy or girl or any cricketer to tap the ball on the bat, they'll do it with ease. But when you ask them to go to the edge, they tend to narrow their focus. So I reckon with Butler there, he's probably been thinking the big picture. I don't need to worry. I've got my mate, and he's pretty good. So I'll just play my natural game. I am expecting him to actually narrow his focus to go, actually, I need to step up now. I'm the senior opener. So I think we'll see a really good innings from him.
2 different seasons. Last year, he was in the pink of health. The numbers will tell you that story. An average of 48, a terrific striker at 163, 625 runs in the 14 games that he played last season. But this year, Jaiswal, who comes in with a certain reputation, clearly hasn't lived up, and he'll be judged by the benchmark he set for himself.
I think yes. But again, I just want to echo what she said, that with Butler there, he was playing expansively. He was going for his shots from the very start.
Yeah.
He was playing natural cricket and he was not worried about the consequences.
Yeah.
And the batting order they have backs it up.
Yeah.
Also, remember, they went on an 8-1 run. So whether he was going well, badly, he knew that he's not hitting the ball badly.
Yeah.
There are 2 parts. One is when you know that ball's not coming on, you're not batting well. He knew he was batting well, he was just getting out. It's a game of chance after all.
Yeah.
You have to take chances. I think now, exactly as she said, with Butler out, he's going to turn around and say, I have a little bit more responsibility out here. Yeah. So I'm going to play. And that's the truth of it. The fact of it is, even playing within himself, he's capable of 10, 12 runs and over under any circumstances. And that's the point. That he has so much talent. Instead of taking, say, 2 risks and over, if he takes, say, 1 risk and over, he's still such a good batter that he's going to give you runs.
Dismissed 7 times in the power play this season. Without Butler, you reckon he's got to be a little more circumspect? maybe a bit cautious.
Potentially, he may do that, or he may play his natural game. Remember, he's 22. I think we have to just remind ourselves and everyone out there that he's 22 years of age. And he is going to have a career that goes like this. So whilst he's come off an absolute high from the Test series against England and then obviously getting selected for India, I'm hoping that these 2 games just teaches him a little lesson that he can take for next year when he's in a similar situation or when he's not in the same situation. Oh, this is how I batted when Buttler wasn't here. This is maybe how I should bat when Buttler is here. So I'm hoping he figures things out in these next 2 games.
After a big series against a big side like England, do young players start to look at themselves differently, and therefore does the inner dialogue perhaps affect what happens on the field?
More than the inner dialogue, I feel the outer dialogue that impacts.
Which is inescapable.
Huge, I know, because the amount of things. See, there are 2-3 things that happen. One is that there's always a problem. There are coaches and players who are trying to prop you up also, saying that you're the best thing since sliced bread. And they need to build your confidence. But the truth is, you need to believe it, but you need to not totally believe it as well. Because if you totally buy into their story, you have to. And at 22, it's difficult to put things in context. But I think he's got to tell himself, I think the only thing he's got to tell himself is, what got me here? What got me where I am today? Sitting out here, all these big contracts, Rajasthan Royals love me, Indian team wants me. What has got me here? Can I go back? What did I put in my practice, in my game that got me here? Because it can't have been an easy journey. And if he focuses back on the journey of what he's done to get here, and he starts thinking about how he played in those circumstances, I think that's the secret of his sauce. Secret, absolute. That
is pretty cool advice from our experts. I'm sure a bit of jaldi cooling will help Yashasvi Jaiswal rack up the numbers against a slightly poor-looking Punjab bowling lineup. Now, we got our viewers as well to send in a few entries. We've got 2 winners who sent in some really cool advice. Let's take a look at them bit by bit. The first one comes in from Tonmai Kalita. Reckons that in the absence of Buttler, Jaiswal needs to take the onus to bat long. Important for RR to have a winning momentum going into the playoffs. One more. Let's take a look at it quickly. Nilesh Shah has talked about Rajasthan's combination. He says they should pick just 3 overseas players. Trent Bolt, Hetmeyer assuming is fit, and Kohler Cadmore, who is playing today, and later bring in a Powell or an Andre Berger as an impact player, depending on the game situation and the conditions.
Well, they listened to him, definitely.
Well done,
They definitely listened to him. Just that Hetmeyer wasn't fit, but otherwise they did exactly what he said. And I think this is the template they've been following very successfully.
Yep. Well, you guys and girls watching us can send in your cool advice as well. Make sure you tag Crompton India on X as well as on Instagram. Now, one of the problem areas for Punjab has been their bowling. Arshdeep Singh, who is going to the World Cup, has once again been a bit hot and cold now. Aliza, it's been the story of his career so far, isn't it? In white ball cricket, he'll have a great day and then he'll go for the runs the next. How have you seen Arshdeep's evolution or lack of it?
Yeah, I mean, again, I kind of go to his age and his experience, and you're going to get that. And you look at bowlers in general in this edition of the tournament. They have gone the journey. It has not been an easy tournament for fast bowlers, especially to get it right. I mean, you look at Mitchell Starc. He hasn't had a great time of it. He's found it challenging. So I think when you put it in perspective, you actually think, okay, he's actually had some good days and bad days. And again, at the age of 25, he will keep learning. He will keep realising what works in different situations, which is only going to make him better for Team India come the World Cup.
16 wickets, Joy, in 12 matches. Clearly, Dravid, Agarkar and co look at him differently. Would these numbers worry them? What's his role going to be? What does he do?
I'm sorry. I believe that genuinely this is one thing that you've got to look at. Firstly, nowadays you cannot look at, even for batters, you can't look at averages anymore. You've got to look at match-winning innings. That the days that they get off, have they managed to change the match or not? Because the truth of it is, consistency is not allowed in a format where you have to take so many risks. Similarly, for the bowlers, it's the same situation. I may bowl a peach of a delivery, but the batsman who's standing there and he's batted for the last 6-7 overs and he's set, he could hit me over my head for 6. So that's the one thing. So we've discovered now that the only way to actually try and slow down people is to get wickets. Okay, And that's the thing, that Arshdeep's, if there's anything that you can accuse him of, he's known to be a very skilled bowler. He does a lot of things, okay?
Yeah.
Perhaps the one thing you can accuse him of is trying too many things. And sometimes it happens to bowlers. I've got the outswinger, I've got the nice in-swinger again, I've got this one straightening up, I've got everything. Sometimes, one or two balls, you should just wait and, bowlers like, if you look like a Magra, what he does. It's a metronomic length. Now, that you think wouldn't work, but it even worked in T20s because it's very difficult if you know exactly where you're going to pitch the ball. It's not that easy still for the batter to do what he can. Yeah. So all I'm saying is that sometimes just focus on one or two things instead of trying 5 things. And that's what Arshdeep does.
Did you expect him to be in the World Cup squad?
I did. Because if you look at it, today no team in the world will go to a World Cup without a proper left-handed option. And that is why if you see, Khalil has also gone. Khalil has gone as one of the reserves for India because for the left-hander, if the left-hander goes out, they need a left-hand option. And these are now necessities, which is why I'm saying that when we look at the World Cup batting order, the right-left business will also become a thing for India.
Do you reckon he'll get a game at the World Cup with Siraj and Bumrah? And there's Hardik as well to double up. Does he get a game?
It depends on the surface, doesn't it? Everyone's expecting potentially India at the back end of the tournament, the business end, where it'll be played in the West Indies and the surfaces may be actually a little bit slower. So that may be an issue for them. However, they do have 3 games in New York. We're not sure what the surface is going to be like.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, so he may have an opportunity. They may want to get him in, and there may be pace and bounce because the Adelaide curator has put together the pitches. He normally puts together really nice pitches for the fast
Huff,
bowlers.
right?
Sorry?
Mr.
Damien Hoff.
Yeah, Damien Huff. Sir.
Yeah.
Does he bowl the safer overs? Would you say, let me bowl in the middle overs, let me regain my confidence, or would you do what your team asks you to?
For this match?
Yeah, this match.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's slightly different because I only played like state cricket and then Australia. So you were always thinking how to get players ready for the bigger honour, right? Given that Punjab are kind of out of it, I think there's a duty that the franchises have potentially to Indian cricket.
A quick look at the Rajasthan Royals 11. Remember, they're batting first. They won the toss. They've chosen to bat first on what is going to be a black soil pitch. Lisa and Joy, your top 4 or top 5 in this lineup.
What do you mean?
Batting order.
That looks good.
Good enough?
I'm with them. I'm with her, totally.
Don't change it.
I'm with her. I'd probably see Jurel might go in ahead of Powell.
He was a bit non-committal when they asked him this question about opening the innings. So we'll see what Sanju Samson and Sangakkara have thought about. Now, a look at the Punjab 11 as well. Remember, this is the bowling first 11. How would you go about using these resources? Remember, no Kagiso Rabada. So a new ball lineup. What would you do?
So look, with this lineup, there's absolutely no option. And let me tell you one thing. TB will tell him, son, my job is to Arshdeep, my job is to win games. So he's going to toss him the ball.
Yeah.
And if you see that lineup, they'll go with Harpreet will bowl one of those 6. They like to use him one of the 6.
Yeah.
But otherwise, expect a lot of current, expect Arshdeep, and expect Ellis to bowl at least 1 over there.
Yeah.
Okay, so those 6 will be there. And then at the end, they'll expect Harshal and Ellis to probably bowl most of the overs of the death. Today, Arshdeep may have an opportunity to bowl a bit more in the middle because you have Ellis there. And Harshal is also specialist late bowler. So there could be, Arshdeep's other overs, I still think he'll bowl at the top.
Yeah.
But his other overs may be in the middle, depending on the situation.
Yeah, about right. I'm just trying to think. Can we get the list up again? I'm just thinking other spinner options.
Chahal is there.
Chahal, yeah. So you've got so you've got to try and find probably the middle, maybe early on before the death hitting goes, depending on how Rajasthan.
Yeah.
And maybe early. I mean, we've got to first see the surface. So they've got options. That's the good thing. They've got plenty of options.
Bit of variety as well. And there's always a lot of variety on Joy Factor. He never recycles questions, is what I think.
I don't recycle. Not knowingly, at least. I'm quite capable of forgetting what I've asked, but not knowingly.
What's it today?
Okay, it's an interesting one. It's about somebody who's been around. This cricketer took 18 wickets in his 9 tests. His first victim was Darren Bravo. His last was Hashim Amla. Identify this Indian cricketer who plays his last first-class match in 2024, which means been around a bit.
Now working on broadcast, I assume? Not here for sure.
I have nothing more to say.
Okay.
I
Go
can
crack
neither
this one.
confirm nor deny that.
You've got about 4 hours to crack this one, and we shall reveal the answer and the winner on our post-game show. Black soil pitch, lots of runs is what the experts said there.
So
What's
we
your
go
prediction?
opposite. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
100? No. Rajasthan batting, right?
Yeah.
206.
Okay, I had 191, so I'll stay with it.
2-2-2. Go for it, RR. Maybe there's a Jaiswal special coming up.
Yeah, apparently you hit a bullseye a few days back.
I did.
Yeah.
I got a few pieces of advice from Virender Sehwag, so that helped. Always helps to listen to our elders, and it works. Right, you guys enjoy the first innings, but make sure you join us at the 10 over mark on Cricbuzz Combox.
Jaipur via Kota,
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೆ
Hyderabad Superfast Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दें